Nintendo. Yeah. Please come and fuck me as much as you can. Okay. That's. Right, so this week Nintendo decided to bless and grace us with the new Switch 2, and like probably most of you, I started this week hopeful. I was looking forward to it. I was looking forward to having and being able to see what the next piece of Nintendo hardware which was going to be, because the Switch, even though I don't think it's that great, even though I think it's overrated, even though I think Nintendo is actually a shitty fucking company, I've enjoyed my time with the Switch. I loved my OLED. I played Zelda Breath of the Wild on it. I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed Metroid Prime. Really enjoyed that. Had Bayonetta 3 as well. And then also be able to play like 360 era games on the go, right? Like, that was all cool and nice. So I was like, cool, Switch 2 is going to be pretty much more of the same, but let's see what they do. And it was pretty much that. It was more of the same, but now I can use the Joy-Con as a mouse. Don't really know how that's going to help me. I mean, is StarCraft going to come to the Switch? Because, yes, please, but I mean, I need a keyboard as well, bro. So, they came out and they were like, look, here's the new Mario Kart, even though basically it's Mario Kart Forza, which actually not a bad idea. I think that's cool. I think that's great. I think making Mario Kart open world and yet having specific tracks is a good way to expand on the Mario Kart genre and then be able to customize your kart a lot more than before. Great. I love that. But then they started to come out with the pricing. And then I think a lot of people realize that they're not living in 2016 anymore. They're living in 2025. And yeah, pricing is fucked now, guys. Just fucked. I'm going to be real. I think 400 for just the Switch 2 and then 430 here in the Great British Pounds, but it's not really that great anymore. Anyway, is okay, right? The PS5 Pro is £700. That's a lot of money. That's like decent, good smartphone territory, right? But then also, the Xbox, I think, actually went up since it first released in 2019, 2020, right? It's now £475, which is, again, edging more towards that infamous PS3 £500, which was back in 2008. That was ludicrous. That was stupid. So I was actually okay with the console itself's pricing, right? However, they then started to come out with the games. And the games look okay, they look good, but I would say they're more of a Switch Pro level than a next generational leap. Yes, Nintendo's never been good for graphics. Yes, Nintendo doesn't put their efforts in there. They focus on the actual gameplay and the gameplay loop and story and other aspects. Good. I want them to have their unique piece. I want them to have their unique hidden selling point, right? That's a great unique selling point to have, because as the head of ex Sony's come out to say, chasing graphics, that shit's expensive. But it was just the audacity of then coming out with things like the physical edition is going to be more than the digital, basically forcing everyone to now go down a digital only route. Which one day the EMPs might drop, the nukes might drop, and I actually want to have a working Switch in the hellscape that will be the world if that ever happens, and we lose all the electricity and all the servers blow up all at once, right? It would be a very, very, very bad day when that happens. But I would still like to know that if my Switch is still working, I'll still be able to play the games which I bought. No, right? No, we are going to do an all digital future because it cuts down on production, it cuts down on shipping. I get it, I understand. But that's a hard pill to swallow. And I think for someone like me, as you can clearly see, I am a physical man. I like to collect physical media. Yes, I have a ridiculously long list of Steam, but I've been collecting that since I was like 16, okay? It's like 300 games, I know it's a lot. So that was a tough pill to actually swallow. And I was like, okay, maybe this is just, games have gone, like, I'm old enough to remember when games were £40, right? They're now 80. I expect a statue with that. I want a little figurine and a booklet and some extra stuff which I can flex, right? That's what used to, like, 90 quid back then when I was a kid, back in like '08. That used to get you a figurine, even a helmet even, right? It was sick. But then they crept up to 4. Then they crept up to 60 and 70. I think it was Madden. I think it was EA, which was the one who started this trend. And now, so for example, bring up Assassin's Creed. We have the entry edition, which is £70. We have the gold edition, which is like 100, and then we have the ultimate, which is 130. So Nintendo's now telling me I need to pay the equivalent of Assassin's Creed, for example, the initial game, and then the extra DLC which that game comes with for being a higher edition, just for your entry level of your version of your game. Okay, Nintendo tax. I've always believed this is a thing. It is a thing. If people who tell you that it isn't a thing, they are lying or they're stupid. It is a thing. Nintendo tax is a thing, especially in the used market. These games never go on sale, right? Breath of the Wild has been out for years and it's still like £50. It's never gone down, right? And if it has, not by the magnitude of other games being released in that era, have now been lowered too. So the Nintendo tax is a thing, right? No, it is a thing. Shut up. But then, and this was the straw that broke my back. This was like, nah, you are taking the piss, bruh. The Pro controller costing €90, so £70. That's basically near enough an elite Xbox controller. No. Yes, I'm glad that my old one will work, but no, that is outrageous. No, stop. And then the second thing, which really, really irked me, certainly someone who's recently got an Xbox Series X, I have to pay in the region of £20 to £30 to get an upgraded edition of the game that I already own. And if I want to buy the upgraded edition of that game, because I don't already own it, basically Breath of the Wild Switch, Breath of the Wild Switch 2, the Switch 2 version is going to cost me in the region of 60 to 75, if not £80, right? That's the pricing bracket. For a game which came out, 2017, 2018, a 10-year-old game? And yes, you're going to give it quality of life, but it's not like, come on. And it's just coming on to my next point, which is we're getting fleeced, guys. Like, the gaming industry, the entertainment industry as a whole just isn't good. And I think comic books is a good sort of like foreshadow of how things become in entertainment, because comic books lost to anime and manga. Like, I don't know if it's true, but I can believe it. Demon Slayer at times alone outsells the entire North American comic book industry. I would believe that. I could actually believe that. At the height of Demon Slayer, yeah, I could. And manga is infinitely cheaper to produce because it's on a smaller print and it's in black and white, not color, right? Even though a comic book is like 10, 20 pages long and a manga book's like more, you're cutting so much cost on the color mate and the ink. Like, that stuff's expensive. It's so, and that's what I'm feeling is happening with films. I've noticed the movie going experience, popcorn has gone up, right? Sorry, actually no, sorry, I need to track a bit. So what do the North American comic book industry do? They don't improve their stories, they don't improve their art, but they improve their prices because they need to try and make more of the little that they are selling. And that's what's, and then you cut off more customers, more customers, more customers. It's just a downward spiral, right? It's very hard to go back up. I'm seeing that with film when I go to when I go to the movies. Me and a good friend of mine used to go to the movies virtually every single weekend. Now we're happy to sit here and play Netflix and Xbox because it's infinitely cheaper. Like seats, like I don't have to pay to sit on my couch, right? I've got a big enough TV. I've got a good enough sound system. So, yes, there are certain movies, like say the F1 movie, I want to go see that in IMAX, and I think IMAX is the only way theaters and movies survives now. I think the normal screens are going to go, and I think we will just have IMAX, but we'll have more of them, which I'll be happier with. So, and now I'm feeling like we're feeling it with the computer games, right? Games I don't feel have gotten any like, certainly graphically not any better this gen. Like, I feel we really peaked at The Last of Us Part 2. Um, the gameplays, we've got more sort of the same games being churned out. There's the extraction shooter is supposed to be the next big thing. We've got him Harathon on the way, which looks I'm excited for that, but we just don't know. And then we've had, as I was saying before, with Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed comes along and it's, they're charging me £130 for just a complete game. Like, I don't want to have a game where, I'm feeling like I'm missing stuff out. And I've actually just noticed, I think Pokemon's playing. Pokemon's a great example. I paid for Pokemon Scarlet and I nearly like just threw it in the trash. I didn't even want to hand it because it's so terrible. The fact that that was a £50 game, fully priced, and it was terrible. Like it felt like an unfinished game. It felt like playing an unfinished game. It felt like looking like an unfinished game. I actually like that game experience was the one where I went, right, I need to be a lot more careful about what Nintendo produced because that little seal of approval, whatever the hell they like to tell about, it ain't all that consistent. I'm still waiting on the Breath of the Wild scope Pokemon. I'm still waiting on the Skyrim Pokemon sort of thing. I don't think those games did that at all. Arceus was supposed to be great, but you telling me that's worth £50-60? I don't think so. And then, yeah, just to wrap up things about the world as well, the Switch 2 is releasing into a world much different to the one which the Switch 1 entered in. And I think the biggest thing which the Switch 2 is going to be up against is the Steam Deck. It's it's my smartphone, right? More kids are happily being able to play on a touchscreen. Me, I hate them. It feels like it's kind of like when people say that they can't play super old games. For me, it's exactly the same. I can't play anything on a screen. It just feels weird. I don't like it. But kids don't care. That's what they grew up on, you know? And you can play Fortnite on there for free. And the parent has more control over the phone as well, And then a Steam Deck, I think the LCD entry one is cheaper than what the Switch 2 can do. Yes, it's not as powerful, but it can still play most of the games which I think the Switch 2 will be able to do. It'll still be able to play them relatively well. It'll be able to play infinitely more games because it's Steam. And then on top of that, literally, you hit a couple of things and it turns into a mini PC. I can stream on it. I can watch Netflix on it. I can watch YouTube on it. I can write an essay on it if I really wanted to as well. The Steam Deck is truly a versatile piece of hardware. And so that's it. I don't really know where I wanted to go with this video. I just kind of wanted to rant. But with that, I do want to do this more often. I do want to talk about video game industry more often because someone who used to work relatively in it. I was in esports, I don't know. But anyway, thank you. Leave a comment. You don't have to like to subscribe. I'm just doing this because I'm just annoyed and pissed off. And if somebody's watching, hope you enjoyed it. But anyway, thank you for your time, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye. Peace.